Hey everyone, Josh here with a look at another Star Wars toy. And today we're going to talk about Snowspeeders from the Micro Machines Action Fleet Collection. This is the Rebel Snowspeeder. So let's take it over to the toy studio and get a closer look at this guy. Come on. Alright guys, here we are today with a Star Wars toy. And this is the Rebel Snowspeeder from The Empire Strikes Back is where this vehicle made his first appearance. And if you're not familiar with this toy line, this is actually a micro machine, and the name of the line is the Action Fleet series. And these were some medium-sized ship toys that they did. And if you're familiar with the micro machines, you'll know they made some really, really small versions of all the ships. They're about, like 1 to 2 inches. And these are a little bit bigger. They're medium-sized. And just to give you context and scale, I have a 3 3/4 inch figure here. And so you can get an understanding. I know sometimes it's kind of hard to tell on camera the scale of something, but that puts it into context of the size of the vehicle. And this thing came out in it was the mid to late 90s. I'm sorry, I don't have the exact year this was released, but I bought it back in the 90s. I remember that. And they're very nice. It's a very nice toy line. They're very detailed. It's all ships, and they come with miniature figures, and I'll show you those here in a little bit. You can actually see them in the cockpit there. There's 2 Rebel pilots. And the ship has some little movable parts to it, and I'll show you guys that here too as well. And when you buy these things, the Action Fleet series, they actually come, each vehicle comes with one of these nice stands, and you can see here it actually has the line logo on it, Action Fleet. And it's just a black stand with a little peg in the top of it. And if you look at the bottom of the ship, you'll see there's a little hole here where it can receive the stand. And it does have some moving parts to it, and I'll show you guys that real quick. What you have here is, if you look here, these are the little air brakes or steering flaps. I'm not sure exactly what you call them. But if you look closely in The Empire Strikes Back, when they're flying the Snowspeeders, and whenever they're making a turn, one of these flaps will come up to make it so the vehicle's able to turn sharper. It's like a little air brake. But there you can see them when they're up. And they just pull up with your finger. There's no button or lever or anything. They just snap up into position. And when you want, you just push them back down till they click. And then, of course, you've got the blaster cannon and tow cable gun on the back here. And it does rotate. It rotates all the way around. And that's all it does. It doesn't fire the tow cable or anything like that. And then also, if you look underneath here, there is a little landing gear. And it just slides out with your finger like that. And all you're going to do is when you put it down, it helps the ship stay level. So if you want to pose or display it off the stand or something like that, it is able to do that. And I'll be honest with you, mine seems to be wanting to pop out on me here. There we go. But there's no button or anything like that. You just pull it down with your fingers. Okay, and you'll see the blaster cannons, the main blaster cannons, they have a little bit of flexibility to them. I know it looks like one of them's a little bent. And all that is they make them out of a softer material so they won't snap off and break. So, if yours has a little bend to it, you just give it a little push back and it'll straighten out a little bit. It's no problem. But also, what this thing does here is the canopy over the cockpit does open, and there's no button or anything. You just kind of pop it open with your finger, and it comes open. And there's 2 pilots inside. And if you remember, you have a pilot and then you have a gunner as well. And they do come out, and they are movable little figures. And they're probably, a little over an inch tall. They're very small. This is actually supposed to be Luke Skywalker. And they didn't put all the... I know he has a very distinctive helmet, and they didn't put all that in there because these figures are so small. It's tough to get exact detail in there, so they just put a little red stripe down it, and there's supposed to be 2 red dots on it, but I only see 1 on this figure. And like I said, for something this small, it's hard for them to get a lot of detail into it, and I'm kind of impressed with what they were able to put into it. And just checking out the movements real quick, because he does move a little bit. He has shoulder movement, and as you can tell here, he's being a little stiff on me. Okay, when you move one arm, it moves both arms. Okay, and his arms are locked in the bent. See how his elbows are bent, so it's going to stay like that. And then he bends at the hips, so you can put him in the seated position and put him in the cockpit. And both pilots do come out here, and I'll show you. You just kind of... It's tricky because it's so small. You got to have little fingers. And the other pilot does come out. And as you can see, if you look, their legs are one solid piece. There's a gap between their legs, but their feet are connected by a little piece at the bottom. So when you move one leg, they both move. It's just the way it works. And just to show you, there is a slight difference in the 2 figures. Now, this one is supposed to be your pilot, and he's Luke Skywalker. And this guy is your gunner. And if you look, you can see the paint scheme on the helmets are just a little bit different. This guy has like a gray box with a stripe on it, and he's just got a red stripe. And that's really the only difference in the figures. Other than that, they're kind of identical. But there you go, guys. And let's get them back in here. I'll show you how that works. And there you can see the seats without the pilots in them. And so we'll put the gunner in first. And then we'll put Luke Skywalker in. Alright, and you just close it till you hear it snap. Alright. Alright guys, and there it is from the Micro Machines Action Fleet series. This is the Rebel Snowspeeder from the Empire Strikes Back. And thanks for watching, everyone. I really appreciate it. Bye.